All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, folks, to the FF Face Off. And yes, we are live with our Week 14 reactions. We do have another game tonight, which we do need a legendary game from a particular someone, which we'll get into that at some point. And also, you guys may need something. Feel free to comment if you do. Feel free. I mean, there are some people, I know some people in certain leagues that are actually still debating start sit in terms of the two teams left. So yeah, if you guys have any comments, feel free to fire it in there. Any questions about the upcoming playoffs, we'll help you out with that. But yeah, this is it. We are rounding third, headed for home, getting ready to win some fantasy football titles. So we'll be happy to help you out. My name is Michael Hoff. You can feel free to follow me on X at the FF Realist. I'm joined by Ben, who can be followed at FF Rabbit Dad. Jesus, words out
Hmm.
are important. Ben, how's it going?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good. I mean, aside from wasting the entire weekend with a really, really bad cold, our
Mm.
household has been out of it. But at least, got some chance to rest. I'm all ready for tonight. And the Vikings won, so that's promising.
The Vikings did win, but we'll just do this. And by the way, I fumbled the FF Rabbit Dad because it's Ben, so I still had the B and Ben in my head when I was saying Dad.
Way too
But
many
whatever.
bees.
Too many B's. Yeah, that's your fault, not mine. Yeah,
And
that's it.
absolutely,
That's
I'm 100%
that.
to blame.
Right. Anyway, um, the main thing though, so the Vikings do win, but Justin Jefferson is still non-existent. I mean, what do we make of this? Like, listen, we've talked about you and I have talked about this. A lot of the programming on this have talked about this. In terms of what do you do with Justin Jefferson? It's like when do you say when? When do you bench him? We were even getting it yesterday on the on the show with me and Pete. I mean, can you tell people to start Justin Jefferson in fantasy in the playoffs? If, by the way,
Hmm.
how many people made the playoffs with him?
That's the tricky part. Is like how many people actually made it all the way there with Justin Jefferson on their team,
Right.
and it's so the way I look at it is like when you look at yesterday's game, um,
Sure.
Washington totally sold out, double teaming, double bracketing him all over the place. He knew it, and he just pulled back, left it open for guys like Naylor, like Addison, everybody else to have the opportunity to get the ball. And you saw it every time. There was a couple times you see like Naylor catch the ball, and then in the bottom corner of the screen you see Justin Jefferson. Yeah, let's go, let's go. He's thrilled about this. He is totally okay with it. For fantasy purposes, no, that does not help. And that's the concern is that our team's just going to continue to double him up. And if so, does that mean the other guys are more startable and Justin Jefferson is not? Or does that mean
Right.
teams are going to be like, okay, we need to respect the passing game now, and now Justin Jefferson becomes playable again? I think based off of that 31 donut yesterday, that we can, I would safely say that we're going to see some production from Justin Jefferson. We're not going to see elite production, maybe, but we're going to get worthy production for him from a fantasy standpoint.
Okay. So basically, it's kind of what we were saying. Yeah, you're not getting that first round value, but he's still worth putting out there,
Yeah.
depending on. Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I mean, I'm down with it. It's been a rough year. I'll say this, and you kind of alluded to it before we get to the question. Rocky, I see you there. We'll get to that in a second. And you kind of said like when you saw other players making plays, he was still excited about it. I'm a diehard Niner fan, so a lot of people were bringing up through the Niner circles that apparently the Niners called the Vikings asking about Justin Jefferson,
Mm.
and so now people are saying, "Well, he's not putting up fantasy numbers; he must be disgruntled." So maybe this trade can happen. That's not going to happen. So just he's
No.
going to stay there. He's probably going to pray that he gets a more consistent quarterback play next year, but that's not going to happen. So
Hmm.
just yeah.
And this was a big week for the positive, obviously. 164 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. It was JJ had the game we need him to have.
Can you trust him to do it again?
I mean, 163 or 164 and three. I'm not expecting that 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a bit much. I could see him get 150, 170 and two, on a regular basis. But I don't think it's really going to be a point where they're going to ask him to throw that much that he's going to be hitting the 220, 250, 300-yard games.
Sure. All right. Well, we'll get to this. Evan, I see Kevin, not Evan, Kevin. I see you there, so we'll get to you in a hot second. But Rocky is coming in here. He says, injuries hurting anyone going into round one. I'm losing London and Lamb. Don't know what to do. And he did go in and say the waiver wire is thin. A lot of
Like 10
ends.
ends. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I tried to emphasize it for him. But yeah, Rocky, if you're here, tell us what you're looking at, who are the potential replacements? That's always context is key. Um, what are we looking at here? I'm curious how close London is to coming back. I didn't hear anything today on Lamb.
Neither have I.
Thankfully that happened. I mean, we hate that it happened, but thankfully it happened on a Thursday where there is more time to recover potentially. But we've also seen some stuff today with concussions. Like, I know it's not fantasy related, but I mean, Charvarius Ward is back in concussion protocol. T. Higgins went back into concussion protocol. So it's a scary spot. But Rocky, if you're here, let us know what you're working with there, and we'll try and help you navigate it the best we possibly can. And also feel free to give us a like while you're around. I'll
And the
kick
last
this
thing,
to
if I can
you.
jump in really quick about
Yeah,
Lamb.
do it.
Last thing I've seen about Lamb at about 11 a.m. Central Standard Time,
Mhm.
progressing nicely through the league's concussion protocol.
Yeah, I just feel like
So
that's
if
it's
that helps at all.
yeah, right. Like it shouldn't, because it could change on a dime. That's the thing. That's what I'm worried about most. But um Kevin's coming in here and he says, and I'll kick this to you, Ben. I'll let you run with this. He said he's scared to play Jefferson even as a flex. So I mean, don't even act like it, because you are. Kevin, if you're still here. Ben, talk Kevin off the ledge.
I mean, am I going to tell you not to be scared about playing Jefferson? No, but you could say that for a lot of players in fantasy. Now, based on, I mean, we all took Jefferson as an early pick in drafts and whatever, or we
Right.
paid high equity to get him. Um, I am not that scared about playing him as a flex or wide receiver 3 this upcoming week. Again, it's a matchup with Dallas, so it's still positive when it comes to passing points or fantasy points through the passing game.
Sure.
So that's optimistic. And like I alluded to before, Washington sold out completely to stop Justin Jefferson, and it exploded horribly in their face because they lost 31-0. So Dallas is probably going to look at that and say, we can't do that. We need to respect the entire passing game, even if they're only going to throw for 160, 200 yards. They got to respect everybody.
That is a Sunday night football game too, and over the last 3 weeks, the Cowboys have allowed at least 30 points to the wide receiver position. We've got 36.4, 43.8, 35.1. That's half point scoring, but still pretty effective. Yeah, and again, and then Rocky, I see you jump back in, so we'll talk to you. But to, again, like we were saying earlier, it's like hopefully you have the horses, and if you're in the playoffs, you probably do. So if you're now looking at Jefferson as like a wide receiver 3 or a flex, I mean, you could probably have worse options. I would say, right? Like we would think. So I think you're okay. I think you're good to go, Kevin.
Yeah. And again, like if you got, if there's like some fringe guy on your roster, you're like, well, maybe this guy, throw it at us, see what we have to say, or, a couple names, or, just wait for more reports to come out,
It's very much, which is not what we wanted, but here we are. It is matchup dependent. So yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever. So Rocky comes in here. He says, plus I'm losing Alec Pierce because of Jones done now. Yeah. And, I did want to get into that. I mean, Daniel Jones, we talked a bit about it off air. Torn Achilles. I'll say this too. I was someone who was a little critical of if he could sustain the play that he was doing over the course of the whole year. But when you get to yesterday and he's walking off the field with what is now a torn Achilles on one leg and a fractured fibula on the other, I think we need to give Daniel Jones his respect. But this is another one, Ben. How are you approaching treating Indianapolis Colts weapons as we go into the playoffs here?
I mean, it does not look pretty. It really doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
we have so much promise. Daniel Jones, the magical comeback season. Everybody's rooting for him. Indiana Jones all the way. Let's go. Colts leading
Okay.
the division, you
Yeah.
know, and then just they had the little injury and now the Achilles one and the frustration guy when he smashed his helmet into the ground after he knew exactly what had happened.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to say because the fact we don't know even who's going to take over at quarterback for next week. I mean, we know it's not Richardson; he's still on IR, and apparently Riley Leonard's got an issue. So they've got a fourth guy whose name I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't
But
either. I don't feel bad about
yeah,
it.
no, I know
That's how bad it is.
yeah, oh no, Brett Rippin.
Oh, Brett Rippon. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
guy who's played on more teams in the last 3 years than he's thrown passes. So,
Oof.
yeah, I mean, we have to wait and see. If it's Rippin, I really don't like the option. I really don't think I don't think I could start any of them if it's Rippin. At least with Leonard, we don't know how bad he could be. We don't know how good he could be. So there's that. But yeah, if it's Rippin, I think I couldn't. I don't think I could bring myself to start any Colts receiver unless I absolutely had to.
Yeah, we'll all right. So we're gonna circle back to that, and that's probably gonna be a reoccurring theme on this YouTube channel throughout the whole week. So feel free to stick around, guys. But Rocky did say maybe pick up Ryan Flarney, which I think that's probably going to be dictated by how CD Lamb is doing through concussion protocol. So that's kind of a wait and see thing, right? You would agree with that?
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. We saw him get a big uptick in a lot of time when CD was out earlier this year. So he's definitely the guy that'll step up if we don't have CD Lamb for a week.
And by the way, the rest of the schedule for the Colts, we're going to get into more of that, but they're going to be next week. They're at Seattle. That's not great. Then they're going up against San Francisco in San Francisco, which that's kind of hit or miss depending on how San Francisco decides to show up. We've seen some games where they're good. We've seen some where they just forget how to tackle. And then they do end the year with the Jaguars, which is whom they just played. So, I mean, do with that what you will. I mean, we're going to get a lot of questions. I see another one here in terms of a particular Colts pass catcher. So we'll get to that in a second. That's a lot there. Black Man B Mac G 5318. This is what happens when I'm in my 40s and it's harder for me to read small
Black
font.
Mamba McGee.
All right. So I didn't do bad. I just said it
No.
way too slow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. He said he appreciates the video, fellas. He clinched and got a first round bye. We'd love to see that.
Nice.
Stash the Chiefs defense for week 16. Your kicker videos got me Meyer. Put me over the top. Yeah. Goddamn right. And keep Meyer. Enjoy the ride. Yeah. Meyer's going to do great again this week, too. By the way, my kicker streamer video will be dropping tomorrow. Hard picking streamers because a lot of those big names like Myers, Aubrey, they have great matchups. The streamers are a little iffy, and Andy Borgalis, one of my favorites, is going to be stuck in a very gusty, windy day in New England this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So don't love that. But
Nope.
he did come back and tell us that his only worry was Tyler Warren, and that's kind of where I wanted to roll that into. I know, I already asked you about pass catchers in general, but Tyler Warren specifically, I mean, yesterday put up what in half point formats? I could pull this up here. Just 2.7 points, which was his lowest of the entire season. And that would be his That was actually his first game with less than 5 points. So, Tyler Warren, how are you approaching that?
I mean, I think he's the one guy that I could you could make a case for. Still, you got to start every week because he's just been that solid and consistent all
Sure.
year. And with somebody else coming in who's less familiar with the offense, who's not up to speed as much, just less experience overall. A guy like Leonard, a guy like Rippon might rely on the tight end for those quick outs if they get into trouble, if they start hearing footsteps. So I
Okay.
think you could still get a decent stat line, a decent floor from Mr. Warren there.
Yeah, I would say, we say this a lot in terms of like rookie quarterbacks that come into teams, for example, which you'll hear a lot when we get to the offseason. By the way, this is a year-round YouTube channel. We do a lot of fantasy football stuff, but a young quarterback's best friend is a reliable tight end. So I think you can rely on that. But I will say, I think we are at the point with every single pass catcher in Indianapolis where it is matchup dependent, more so than even Justin Jefferson that we talked about earlier, in my opinion. I don't know if you're.
Plus, the matchups are really nice for the Colts, for Warren in particular. Seattle, San Francisco, and Jacksonville, all top 10 in points allowed in
Yep.
half-point scoring setting to the tight end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And that's you are the tight end whisperer. But yes, for as good as Seattle has been defensively, yeah, they've given up some points. So that's for sure. But all right. So there you go. Something to think about. If we get here, KJ Frederick said, "What up, guys? Sorry getting in here a little late. We got in here a little late. So there's no
Oh,
well,
good.
I got in here a little late. Um, he said, "Do you guys know if CD has a good chance to play on Sunday from concussion, or is he more likely to be out?" Ben, you had said,
Yeah, last report I saw was, late morning. They said that he was progressing well through the concussion protocol. So it's kind of one of those like he might and he might not.
right.
So we
Yeah.
just got to keep listening. We just got to keep watching.
It's I would tell you, KJ, to be prepared for vagueness throughout the week, which is what concussions are. It's not a matter of like the Cowboys being, jerks about it and making our lives
No,
hard. It's just it's hard to dictate what happens with these concussions. So I would tell you be best prepared if he is out. Don't be
if
left
you could
holding the
pick up
bag.
Flournoy, go and pick him up, and just
Right.
as an insurance policy.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah, because if CD's out, we know Pickens is getting the team's best coverage. And I'll just listen. While I didn't love some of the stuff that Pickens did last week, I don't think that he's suddenly going to just fold into that kind of wide receiver. Like, I know everybody's getting emotional about that. I know Sherman laced into him, but Pickens will still do well. But Flournoy would be a great piece to have if you've got the space. Do you have anything else on that, Ben, or are we
No, that's
good?
pretty much it. Yeah, go with Flournoy
No.
if for insurance policy.
We got Rocky coming back in here. My bench is Tesla, Pearsall, Valet, Mooney, RBs, Mason, Tracy, and Corum. That's what he's holding right now. And this is the possible loss of London and Lamb that we were talking about
Yeah,
earlier. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a diehard Niner guy. Pearsall at some point is going, we only have a few weeks left. He's going to pop at some point, especially if you're in a PPR league. Do I want to rely on that and bet on that? No. Ben, I'll be curious for your thoughts on that since you're not a Niner guy. I will say with
yeah,
Tesla, especially if you're in a PPR league, I mean, you do have the potential for a touchdown. He did score a touchdown last week on Thursday Night Football. He did get into end zone, even though Amon-Ra came out and showed his inner Wolverine and played anyway, one of the toughest players in football.
yep,
But you know, what are you doing with this bench here? Because he's worried about no Drake London. He's worried about no CD Lamb.
yeah. No, it's looking kind of gross, but you know what? It could be worse. We can say that right off the bat. It could be worse. You've still got a guy here in Pearsall who we know can perform at the higher levels and be a borderline wide receiver one for fantasy.
Sure.
Vele's had enough targets over the last couple weeks. I'm just going to double check actually on that. I know that we're a couple weeks before. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm taking a look at
Yeah.
something myself.
Okay, so he was only 5. So he's had 20 targets over the last 3 weeks. So that's good numbers. He scored a touchdown in week 13 and 93 yards. He's not a bad second option, in your case right now. Mooney, I think, he's kind of droppable. Kirk Cousins is not Kirk Cousins anymore. We've seen that; it's clear as day. And I don't like. I don't. It hurts me to say that because even the situation he left Minnesota in, I'm still a fan of Kirk Cousins, the player. But yeah, I think Mooney is probably droppable. So if there's somebody that you can pick up, like get Flournoy as that insurance policy for sure. Otherwise, Corum might be a nice sneaky play too if you need a flex guy there because of the fact that we saw him get more touches the last couple of weeks and he's looked good with his touches. And they've basically outright said, we're saving Kyron for the playoffs. So, Corum might be one of those league winning guys down the stretch here.
Yeah, that's a great call. That's what I was going to bring up was the report about the running back position for the Rams saying like, yeah, they're going to save Kyron because listen, like if we sit back right now, of all the teams in the NFC, I know the NFC's stacked right now, at least in terms. Well, I shouldn't say stacked. It's more of a log jam. It's an impressive log jam. That's what I'll say. But I'll say of those teams, I mean, I have officially converted from saying the Eagles, who will play tonight, are going to the Super Bowl. I think it's the Rams now. And which I do think is kind of funny because if you remember last week, this same Rams team lost to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Were they not? Was it one of those kind of get lazy spots because it's the Panthers? Like we'll just walk in here and dice them up and move
not
on.
Take them seriously, yeah.
Right, yeah. But to your point, I want to look at this quick. Yeah, to your point here, talking about the report about resting Kyron for the playoffs. Yesterday, Blake Corum had 33% of the rush attempts. Kyron Williams had 36. So even though Kyron got more, it's very close. I mean, if I pull this up, I'm pulling up something else here. If we go to every other week besides yesterday, Kyron Williams, 59%, Blake Corum, 29. So that tells us that report is accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely wanting to make sure that they've got as healthy of a running back room as possible for a potential bull run. I mean, they've got the personnel to do it. They're sitting at the top of the division. They've got all the cards in their favor right now. They just need to get dealt that last ace, and they might have it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that just because I'm a Niner fan, I'll say I'll be surprised if the Niners don't walk out of this season with 11 wins based on their opponents. But I still think the Rams are going to be. I think they're going to be your number one seed unless the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. I mean, if getting your house egged by your fan base doesn't do it for you, I don't know what will get you out of that rut. But I mean,
Eagles fans, you
Eagles fans
entertain us every day.
Listen, I've got a really good friend who's an Eagles fan. I don't F with him when it comes to the Eagles. I don't because I don't want to find out. So, but yeah, they are a special breed. Those boys and gals.
Yes, they are. They are a very special breed.
Yeah. Wilford comes in here. He says he's worried about his QB situation. We kind of touched on this a little bit, talking about Daniel Jones earlier. So he lost Daniel Jones. He might pick up JJ, your boy. Can I call him your boy? Is that fair since you're a Vikings guy?
You can call him my boy. The only person that's on this show more often, the only person that people know by name who would be more on the JJ side would be Thor Nystrom. But other than that, I'm probably number 2. And so actually, absolutely, you can call me my boy.
So
I don't think. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna pitch you and just kind of let you run with it. I mean, this week with the Vikings matchup coming up with the Cowboys, right? That's a Sunday night football game.
Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. Number
So
one,
walk me
most
through it.
points against the fantasy quarterbacks. The next week, Giants, second most points to fantasy quarterbacks. Championship week, Detroit, eighth most points to fantasy quarterbacks. I'm not saying he's going to lead everybody to a championship, but I'm not saying he can't. It's definitely the matchups are there. Everybody, the offensive line is healthy and looked absolutely amazing last week or yesterday. Just he had all the time in the world. Granted, he's probably not going to have as much time against the Dallas team, who's a little bit stingier when it comes to the rush.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think you can get some good production if you need to. I think he's a good supplemental play if you just need some points for that. You need to have an active guy in there who's going to get you a good floor. I think JJ can do that for you.
So, and then just to kind of lay the groundwork here, when we're talking about JJ McCarthy, where you're pretty much saying if it's a super flex 2 QB league, whatever, you think it's safe to put him in there. But I'm trying to talk to the viewers here that are watching, which, by the way, feel free to like the show. We appreciate it immensely. But there would probably be limitations to your willingness to start JJ in just a 1 QB league, right? If you're in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not gonna obviously in a 2 quarterback league, in a super flex league, he's a smash start. But in a 1 quarterback league, he's probably around that QB 12 to 16, in my opinion. It with upside, because
Right.
he could hit Addison or JJ for a pass and they break it into a 60-yard touchdown, and then that just skyrockets points for everybody. So I think he's that high-end quarterback too. So if you need if somebody's else stashing quarterbacks and you just need to grab a guy who's going to get you a good floor, I think JJ is a good player for that this week.
All right, there you go. We're gonna get asked about that a lot probably coming up.
Yeah, I'm ready
Michael,
for it.
yeah, you're ready. Michael Regine PS7WF comes in here and says, my RBs, Kyron Williams, Chase Brown, Woody Marks, Dowdle, Corum, Bam. Is it wise to start Williams, Chase Brown, and flex Corum instead of Woody or Dowdle? Now, I'll just say this as I want to pull this up. Obviously, we referenced the Panthers beating the Rams before their bye week last week. I want to pull this up here really quick because I feel like lately there's been a bit of more of a shift. In week 13, Chuba Hubbard had 19.4 points. Rico Dowdle had 8.9. I want to pull up in terms of how that work was actually distributed the last 2 weeks prior to the bye. But Ben, if you want to dig in on this convo, and then I want to look up some of those Panther numbers a little closely.
Sure, yeah. So he's got Kyron, he's got Chase. Oh yeah, that's right. Start William Kyron, Chase, and flex Corum instead of Woody. See, what I like about Woody is that Houston was willing, even in a tough matchup, to continue giving him the ball. I mean, granted, yeah, they ended up winning the game, so they had more opportunity and more reason to keep running the ball. But he had 26 carries yesterday against the Chiefs. So I think I would still flex Woody over Corum in that situation instead of playing both. You could be fine playing both, but I mean, at the same time, then you're playing 2 guys and getting one running back's stat line for 2 positions. That's the only thing I worry about. So I think I would flex Woody over Corum in that situation. And then with Dowdle, I would like to say that. I'm probably going to have to do that since I fell out of the number 1 slot in my fantasy league. And now I'm going to have to play somebody in the first round of the playoffs. But yeah, so Dowdle, we're going to have to wait and see on that. I think they might go to more of a 50-50 again, just based on it just seems like whoever has the hot hand is the guy who's getting it. And then we don't know who's that's going to be every week. Sometimes it's been Dowdle. Sometimes it's been, last week it was Hubbard's, or not last week, but the week before it was Hubbard's. So, yeah, Woody over Corum for me.
Yeah, I'd go Woody over Corum as well. Now, this is what I wanted to look up here because I felt like there was a shift in the 2 weeks prior to the bye week in terms of the distribution of touches in Carolina. And so we got Chuba came back in week 7. So if we go from week 7 to week 11, this is just, we're not talking targets here. We're just talking, well, fuck it. I'll bring up targets anyway. But in terms of the attempt share, we had Rico Dowdle getting 60% from week 7 to week 11. Chuba Hubbard getting only 26. The targets, we'd always assume Rico's going to get more. He got 12% to Chuba getting 4. Now, that was week 7 to week 11. If I go to the last 2 weeks, that then went, the gap closed to Chuba getting 38% of the touches, of the attempts, I should say, the rushing attempts, to Rico Dowdle getting 45. So that gap closed. And actually, surprisingly enough, I just walked right into this. The target share was tied between the two, 13% for both. So, point being, long story long, even needed Ben to talk for me to figure this out, but I'm a little more hesitant on Dowdle to put him out there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'd be cool with Corum going out there, and I'm not one who usually supports Blake Corum, but we talked about this, resting Kyron Williams. We have to remember when we're playing fantasy football that we're playing a game about a game, and the Rams are planning differently than we're planning for fantasy.
Yep.
So, I think Blake would be a guy to put out there. I'm not against that. So, yeah,
I'm not against it either, but I would personally, just because of the amount of touches he's getting and the fact that we might not have, or we might not have Nick Chubb for another week. I think I would still put Woody above Corum myself, but I don't hate Corum play either, because then at least you're getting pretty much all the running stats from the Rams.
really quick, funny story before we get into. We have 2 other questions. Well, 1 comment, 2 questions coming up. So I always look through my underdog teams and see how they're doing. So I had one that was still in the money. I have a few that are in the money, but I had one that was in the money that I hadn't checked. And all of a sudden, I went to click on a team, and I texted Pete this morning, and I said, with a screenshot, I said, clear, and I'm still in first, mind you. This
Mm-hmm.
is going to blow your mind. I'm still in first with this team. And I said, clearly, this was one of those drafts, which we've all done it. Ben, I'm sure you've been there, where you're drafting on your phone, it gets late. You got a glass of whiskey there, and all of a sudden you fall asleep with your rabbit ears on your head
Uh-huh.
and the
Yep.
phone laying on your chest, and the team gets auto drafted. I had 1 running back. It was Nick Chubb. That's my only running back. But somehow I'm still in first. I don't know how the hell that happened, but just a funny story. I felt like
I
telling.
actually have a kind of a similar one. I had did a best ball with our buddy Steve D'Angelo earlier this year,
Love
and
Steve.
in the one of the $25. What is it? The best
Uh,
ball mania.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes, yeah,
one of the
yeah,
best ball
yeah.
manias. And
Mhm.
up until this week, I have been in first place the entire league. I have 1 quarterback and 2 tight ends on my roster because I got timed out on my last pick
Yep,
for a quarterback, and it gave me like some random running back or wide receiver or whatever. But yeah, I've got
that's funny.
Jared Goff as my only quarterback, and I'm 5 points out of first place and still advancing right now. So
And actually, I don't know if I posted this on X. I was going to, but this would be a bit of a clue for anybody before I posted. There are 3 quarterbacks in the top 12 in scoring right now that have not had a game with less than 10 points. Only 3.
only 3.
One of them, I'll just spoil one of them, is Jared Goff. There are 2 others. So I might post that later. And Ben, you could think
So
about that.
so there's 3 that have, what was it again?
3 quarterbacks in the top 12 in scoring up until this point that have had yet to have a game with less than 10 points scoring.
Total scoring or scoring per week?
Scoring. Well, I'm saying top 12 is scoring for the whole year. And I'm
Okay,
saying
all right.
of that top
Because I was
12,
because I was thinking maybe Jacoby Brissett, but he wouldn't make top 12 for the whole
he
year.
wouldn't make top 12. He's 19 right now, and he has not had a game with under 10 points, though. So
No.
you had the right idea. But yeah, 3 quarterbacks in the top 12 in total scoring right now have
Wow.
not had a game with less than 10 points. Jared Goff is one of them. Now I'll let you just sit on that. Ben's gonna be thinking about that the whole fucking time now.
He's the whole
Rock,
time now. I'll
yes,
throw it off now.
that's it. The ears are moving. Rocky comes back in here. Yeah, there they go. He says, probably gonna squeeze Corum in on a flex spot and flip a coin on my wide receivers. Thanks, guys. What sucks, I had Dak, Lamb, Stack. Love the show. Well, we appreciate you loving the show. And
Yes.
I would tell you, Rocky, man, we're going to be here all week, whether it's me, whether it's Ben, whether it's Steve, whether it's the mediators, whether it's Pete. We're all going to be here to help you out. Want to help you win the fantasy title. So we will be around. Gannon Long 1275 says, I'm in the playoffs with a bye, and that's because of you, Hoff. Oh, God bless you. Pete and the face off crew. Nothing but love and respect. You won a championship. Off season matters, and they deliver. Yeah, no BS. Thanks. Yeah. Well, we appreciate that, man. Happy to help. And yeah, just goes to listen, kickers matter. And people scoff at it, but when they saw Brandon Aubrey put up 22 points in Thursday Night Football, people stopped and stared. So, yeah,
Yep.
that's a One Republic line. Stop and stare. It's a good song. I don't care. But you're welcome. Yeah, we hope we get you a title. Let's get into Tron Force here. Made a huge mistake. I dropped Goddard for Ertz. Oofa. Once Ertz went down, I panicked and dropped Corum for Goddard. Oh, no. Since he wasn't locked, Corum went off. My other RBs are CMC, Barkley, Warren, and Gainwell. Well, I'll say this. In terms of, and then Ben, you can sound off on this. So CMC, we know that already. I will say this in terms of Barkley, and Pete always makes fun of me when I say this. I have a client that I help run a team for. So, and he's got Saquon Barkley, and he keeps stressing. And I keep telling him, listen, the Eagles, if we look at and I'll pull it up at some point, their strength of schedule is one of the easiest in terms of running backs the rest of the way. If we combine that with the fact that, again, the offensive coordinator's house just got egged, if nothing else wakes that man up to say, hey, let me give Saquon Barkley the ball, nothing else will. The Eagles have the second easiest strength of schedule for running backs the rest of the way. Have to imagine that bodes well for one Saquon Barkley. So I think you're okay there. What I'm worried about is if you're in a Warren and Gainwell situation, nothing makes me feel more vulnerable in fantasy football than when I have two running backs on a team that Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator. I might as well be standing there with no pants on. I am very vulnerable. I'm scared. I'm cold. I don't know what to do. Now, Corum, losing Corum sucks. I would say put in a claim, but Ben, I gave you all that, and I gave you the visual of me being very vulnerable. But how would you process all that?
I'm trying really hard to scrap that one from my memory banks. But anywho,
you're welcome.
Yeah. So I would, definitely got to go and try to put a claim in on Mr. Corum there. And like Hoff said, is like having both of those guys for the Steelers. That's just, you never know which one it's going to be. If you could start on both at the same time. I mean, I remember back in the day once playing in a league where we had team positionals, like, team quarterbacks, team running backs.
Sure.
Way back with people who'd never
team
played
running
fantasy.
backs too, huh?
Yeah, no, it was way in the way. We had like 6 teams, and it was
like
just
a cheat code.
It was me and a bunch of people who had never played before. I was trying to get them into it, and like 2 of them I know still play fantasy to this day. They're actually in my 22-year league that
Nice.
I've been running for that long. So, but yeah, that in that situation all day long. But in this situation, that hurts. And when you've had Barkley not struggling, but being less than what we needed from him all year, I would really try and go and grab that Corum piece. He might be a priority, but again, I don't know what else is on your waiver wires. I don't know who else is available. But I think Corum is definitely a piece that you want to grab. But then again, I would also need to know who you would possibly drop in that situation.
Sure.
I guess it would be, well, you already dropped Ertz, so never mind.
Well, whatever. I mean, we can kind of, Tron, if you want to give us more of the lay of the land and what you're looking at, we'll help you out. But I'll say this too. It was I spend each morning entering weekly scoring on half point scoring. I do it every single morning. And then when Monday rolls around, then I'll enter in like tomorrow morning, I'll put in the Eagles and the Chargers players. But I mean, looking at this, Barkley, if like fathom this, Barkley's only had one game with 20 points this year. Last year he had what, 6, 7? I mean, I could pull it up, but it's probably around there. 6 or 7 is safe.
Probably more, yeah.
Yeah, maybe potentially more. He's only had one game this year, and he's only had 6 games with more than 10 points.
Yeah, it's not been horrible, but it's been horrible for where we drafted him, which was, late first, early second round. So
Which there's a few guys that are like that. I mean, we talked about Justin Jefferson at the top of the
Jefferson,
show. I
another
mean,
good example. Brian Thomas Jr., another
Brian
example.
Thomas, another one. Yep. Give us a shift spot. Yeah, it's not, and some of this stuff is not like I don't think this is like like I'm not going to be like Saquon Barkley has lost a step. I think just the offensive philosophy for whatever reason is not blending to what they should be doing. Now they have time to turn it around, at least in terms of winning a Super Bowl, but
Mm-hmm.
like we're not going to come on here during the offseason and be like, don't draft Saquon Barkley, right? Like he's
No,
lost
no,
a
no.
step, right? I mean, I wouldn't say that.
No, I wouldn't say to not draft him. I didn't say that going into this year, and I was pretty well down on him going into this year. I think I had him as like I wouldn't have taken him before the 4th round personally, but I also knew I was never going to get him at that price. So it might be somewhere around there again this coming year.
Well, now I'm half curious because we got some questions. We'll get to that. So let's pretend it's the offseason. Let's pretend the dust is settled. Let's pretend Saquon continued on the same path that he's been going on, which again we've illustrated is not his fault. It's more offensive coordinator. How do you approach advertising Saquon Barkley to people during the offseason? I'm just curious.
Well, I guess you'd say, look at what he did in his first year with Philly, and look at what happened this year with Philly. It was not the same offense. Maybe this coaching staff, the play callers, see what happened and realize we need to go back to what we were doing before, and just recycle it back. Maybe you take Saquon. If Saquon falls into like a 4th round ADP going into next year,
Sure.
maybe you take him in the 3rd or the end of the 2nd just to guarantee you get him on your squad. And if he has that big, 2,000-yard year again, you've hit gold and he's a league winner.
All right. Yeah. All right.
And it's coming from a guy who's never been the biggest Saquon Barkley fan.
Okay. Good to know. I wanted to give you I gave you call that a pop quiz.
Sure.
Give it to you. And you hit it out of the park. I'm not surprised at all.
Thank you.
Michael came in here and said, thanks, guys, for the great detailed answer on the quorum question. No problem, man. Happy to help.
Happy to help.
Rocky came back in. My starting running backs are Neal and Warren due to injury. Also, I'm 9-4. Would you start Corum over one of them? I'm in deep shit with a bunch of that reminds me of the Ralph Wiggum when he's on the bus and he goes, I'm in danger. Yeah, and he laughs. Yeah, yep. Rocky's in danger. How do we help Rocky here? What do we do? The only thing I'll say before I pitch it to you, man, I would say if it's PPR, depending on Alvin Kamara's availability, Neal might be more appealing if it's a PPR. If it's a half point or a standard, I'm thinking a little bit harder about this. But Ben, what says you? How would you approach this?
I think I'm pretty similar to that. If it's PPR and if we know that we're not getting Kamara, it's definitely Neal. I would even still go with Neal and a half PPR. Okay. The running backs or the schedule for running backs for the Saints going ahead. Carolina, 7th most points allowed in half point. Jets, 5th most allowed in half point to running backs. Titans, 6th most. So it's really nice. And, the Saints are sitting back there. They're going to have a high pick. They're probably going to lose. I'd say they lose at least 2 of these games, but I'm sure they'd like to win one of them. just going forward and just see what Neil has. Maybe just maybe shut it down for Kamara. Maybe he just let him rest, let him think about what he's going to do next year, and then it's a lost season. They're not making playoffs, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So see what Neil's got, and this is the time for it to happen. You give him the touches, see what he can do with them. He's had 14 and 19 carries in each of the last 2 weeks. He scored on the ground this last week. Why not? I think you're good with just Neil and Warren in that situation.
And Rocky is coming back in here to tell us that it is PPR. So we would lean Neil. And then Rocky, I know you're saying that you wish you could show your team that you have on ESPN. If you're on X, you can DM me at the FF Realist. Also at FF Rabbit Dad. He could help you out as well, Ben. If you post it there, we'll help you out. But we do have a Discord. I'll put the Discord in the comments. You can join our Discord as well. And then also you could just comment your team in the comments on YouTube. And after this show is over, while I'm watching a little Monday Night Foosball, I will gladly jump in there and help you out as much as I can. Now, I'll also tell you that we're going to be here all week. So if you wish you could, you can. You got to get a little creative. That's all. So, but we'll definitely help you out. Michael's coming back in here saying not taking anything away from Corn. He is still viable, but he did have that 48-yard run. 48-yard. Yeah. But we take what we can get. But yeah, I get
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
He can turn a run into 48 yards. Boom, explosive play ability right there.
That's
Another
it.
plus.
And then Michael comes in and says, hope you don't mind me asking this. Win gives me first round bye. I'm up 28.5 points. I am done. My opponent has, I assume that's Jalen Hurts. My chances. Well,
I like the chances, but also, actually, is it 4-point passing touchdown? Is it 6 points? Is there any kind of scoring bonuses?
Context is key.
Yep.
Just on the surface, though. On the surface.
Yeah, I say on the surface, if it's like a 4-point passing touchdown league, no fancy gadgets, no bonuses for big plays, I think you got a good shot at this. I think you're still up by enough. Hurts has really only been effective in the last few weeks. I think in his last 4 games, he's gotten more than 20 points in one of them, and he needed 2 rushing scores to get that. So in the last 4 games, I believe. So
that's kind of what I was gonna say too, in terms of like if you have a league where the points are different or where there's more rewards for certain points. I mean, Jalen Hurts, with all due respect, he's a great fantasy player, but like it's not like a Cam Newton in his prime where he's ripping off a 60, 70-yard run. Jalen Hurts will scramble, but he's doing his damage in the red zone there. Not even the red zone. He's doing it closer, So I would say 28.5 points. I'd say on the surface, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah. Like I said, like in my scoring format for my personal league, which I base this off of, is he has not hit that number in one. He's hit that number once since week 3. And in my league, the scoring is a little bit higher for quarterbacks. We do a little bit more for passing yards to kind of equal it out for against those rushing guys. But yeah, he's only beaten 28 points once since week 3.
Yeah, that's I have week 12. What do you see for week 12?
Yeah, I see. Like for mine, that's the one time since week 3
that
he scored more than 28 points or 28.5 points in my scoring settings. So
he got close. Week 7, week 8 got close, but yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, you're not comfortable tonight. You're gonna sweat.
Yep.
Have a drink. I'm half alarmed because Ben usually has a brown drink. He's got a red drink tonight. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I'm still recovering from the weekend, so it's strawberry Sunny D and coffee is all I'm having today. So
okay,
it's the stuff that I take. It like I swear to God, Sunny D cures cancer. It works for me every time.
Wow, that's breaking news.
I've gone through at least half a bottle of this in the last 24 hours. So
Well, if nothing else, you should subscribe to our program because Ben just gave you the cure for cancer. It is Sunny D.
There you go, right there.
And by the way, I sometimes try to not curse on this show, but that feels like an opportune time to say "fuck you, cancer." So that's it.
Yeah, fuck you,
We,
cancer.
we all know somebody, so we'll just throw it out there. Fuck you, cancer. So, um, Amazon Pancakes 543, which I feel like were you in the show yesterday? I feel like you were. I feel like that name. I've seen that name before.
Fun name.
Yeah, it is. I mean, pancakes are awesome, and I mean, now more than ever, you need Amazon Prime to get your Christmas presents. So, there you go. Um, so I lost Danny Dimes, but I still have Bo Nix, even though I don't trust him being more than average the rest of the year. Would you pick up Shador Sanders, Trevor Lawrence, or Caleb Williams rest of season? Now, I was actually curious to see how Kevin Stefanski would handle the 2-point conversion conversation. So I did watch the press conference today, which I'm only bringing that up because he did announce that Shador Sanders is the starter for the rest of the season. So Ben, I'll pitch this to you. So he lost Danny Dimes. He's got Bo Nix, Shador, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams. How are we feeling rest of season?
So yeah, it sucks. Obviously losing Danny Dimes, and Bo Nix. He's got a tough matchup this coming week. Sorry
Bless you.
there. Yeah. Um, so yeah, Nick's not a great matchup this coming week. And then I said it last week, and I've been all over the place. I think Caleb Williams is an outright drop in daily fantasy, or not daily, in reref fantasy, just
Okay.
because the matchups suck going forward, and you want one of your opponents to pick him up and start him against you because he's probably going to sink their season. Um, and then Lawrence actually has a matchup against the Jets in Week 15. So I'd probably go with him. Hope for a little upside. I mean, he's already cleared 20 points in each of the last 2 weeks, fantasy wise. 4-point passing, touchdown, scoring setting. So he's probably the best option there. And then I would hold on to Knicks because the next week does get better for him schedule wise.
I would hold on to Knicks, but yeah, listen, Shador, that schedule's not terrible, man. Fifth
No, it's
easiest the
not.
rest of the way. It's not. And listen, I'm not. I feel like and this is. I'm not doing this, but I'm doing it. I guess I feel like Shador Sanders in terms of NFL fantasy is almost what it is in the political spectrum. It's just you're either my friend or you're my enemy. It's like people either love Shador or they hate him. I'm cool. I'm cool. Do I think Shador's a little cocky? Sure, but hey, I don't think we can ignore what he did last week. And if he's got an easy schedule coming up, and yeah, I get it. The 2-point conversion was a bad call, but Stefanski said he gave up plays. I think Shador's a guy that maybe you take serious the rest of the way. At least if you're in that particular quandary, which I agree with you, though, I would still roster Bo Nix through all this.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah, it's, you know, I'm just saying it wasn't a lot of the Saquon stuff was not on our bingo card. Shador
Mm-hmm.
Sanders for the fantasy football playoffs, not on the bingo card.
Yeah, definitely not. Nope.
Right.
I did have him in one best ball draft though, and he scored for me this week.
Hey now. All right. Michael come back in. LOL, I will be drinking. You guys are the best. I'm a subscriber. We appreciate that. And listen,
Thank
we
you.
hope you win. I'll be rooting for you. I'm sure Ben will be too. Hoping for the
Mm-hmm.
best. So
I hope every single one of you wins, unless you're playing against me.
bingo. Then I hope you lose by 1,000 points.
Yep.
The old Bobby Boucher H2O coming in here. His name's not Bobby Boucher. It's just I'm using a Waterboy reference. You guys understand. Bone cancer survivor here. Cancer
Hey,
sucks. Yeah. Listen.
cheers to that.
I know people that have bone cancer. I lost my aunt to it. So right there with you. So again, if nothing else in this show, we'll try and not do a ton of expletives, but always fuck you, cancer will always be one of them. Greg coming in there said, guys, what should I get the wife for Christmas? There you go. Not asking for a ton of stats. What do you want to, what are we getting her?
It's tough to say. I mean, you could always get her a new Christmas tree ornament or some new stockings, maybe some sexy lingerie,
Ooh. I would say get her favorite liquor for dealing with you, Greg, even though I'm sure you're a treat, Greg. You're a friend of the program. Get
I'm
her
sure
favorite bottle of liquor and get her a Brock Purdy jersey just because he does the Dougie. So do that. There you go. That's my answer.
Dougie is powerful.
The Dougie is powerful. It is true. Is that a tall boy Coors Light? Yes, Rocky. Yeah, I actually been doing very well. I haven't had drinks on the show. I decided to tonight. Blame it on the car trouble. So, but yeah. So yes, we did bust that out tonight. Greg coming in here said playoffs 17, 18 dynasty teams. Thanks for all the help this year. Okay. Oh, damn. 17 of 18
That's
teams.
very nice.
Oh, man. Maybe you should be getting us a Christmas gift, not your wife. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Like to say, not the opposite. I think I've got one of my dynasty teams in the playoffs.
I actually have a few. Well, I have one that just started this year, and I went. I don't know if you're in that league or not. Yeah, you might not be in that one league. We're in a couple dynasties together, but this one I just went balls to the wall drafting. It was a startup, so I'm just gonna win now. Like I'm not gonna do this whole like, oh, let me fucking reinvent the wheel and win in 5 years with this sick lineup I'm gonna do. Like it's just, let's win now. So
Absolutely, that's how I play. How I draft my dynasty.
that's it. Sanders reminds me a lot of Slash back in the day with the Steelers.
Cordell Stewart reference.
Well, I actually don't hate that call. I don't despise that call.
No.
So
I like it. I like it.
Holy shit. Is that real?
Slash was actually one of my first football jerseys.
Do you want to hear something that's going to blow you off your chair or off your couch?
All right.
The Colts are bringing in Phillip Rivers for a workout on Tuesday.
Wow.
Rivers, who was a grandfather, last played for the Colts in the COVID season.
Holy crap.
So
you feel like he needs to pad those stats for a possible Hall of Fame bid? Is that what he's thinking?
Maybe gets that. Maybe wants that ring. You know,
if Joe Flacco can do it, so can I.
I honestly, would I be stunned if Phillip Rivers came back and could just fucking sling it? I would not be stunned.
I mean, he can't be any worse than Brett Rippon.
Well, yeah, that's true. But geez, all right. So we got that. 1-3 in redraft. We will 2-3 if Hurts, Barkley, and Smith put up 55. That's not terrible. You need 3 players. You need 3 guys to put up 55 points.
Season high for Barkley, and you got it.
Yeah, you could do that. Amazon came back in, and we're gonna bounce out of here in a minute or two. We're almost at an hour. Ben's got to feed his rabbits. I gotta do nothing.
Also got to feed my wife. So
I got to feed your. Then we definitely got to end this soon because happy wife, happy life, and we don't want the sad bunny ears. Also, by the way, Phillip Rivers did turn 44 today, so birthday shout out as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy birthday, Phillip Rivers. Oh, that made my night right there. That made my night.
What? Phillip Rivers? Oh, geez. So, you can't even handle your call. You can't even handle your cross. You just
yep.
That's it. All right. I'm pretty much jumping all of your streams. I wish there yesterday as well. Oh, you were there yesterday as well. Yeah, I was here. Yeah, it's good. Well, happy to have you. Yeah, I see. I knew your name sounded familiar. All right, what we got here? Let's run through all this stuff. Really quick, Rocky said this is all set up. The next head coach of the Browns will be prime Deion Sanders. Hot take. I mean, Ben, really quick, would you be stunned if that was the case?
Stunned? No, but I don't think that's happening yet. I mean, Stefanski's, he's had to deal with that whole with the Watson issue itself should give him a little bit of a pass. And the fact that the defense still runs so well. I mean, Stefanski has shown that he can do things with the personnel he's got on the field. Has it been really successful? No. Will they move on from Stefanski? It's possible. But I think there's better coaching candidates available that they would look at before prime time?
I would agree with all that, except I will just quickly respond and just say it is the Browns, so I expect the dumbest thing to happen. So it
There's
would not
that.
shock me.
There's that.
So, Greg came in and said, haha, good advice. Christmas tree ornament is a great shout. Um, Clearly he missed the Christmas lingerie, but whatever. My go-to, there you go. And then Rocky Pancake said, Rocky, that is a very interesting hot take. Okay. How crazy? That would be very crazy, by my opinion. But yeah. And then Jennifer coming in here saying, who do you have tonight winning? It's actually a good question because it's a good matchup. I'm gonna say, instead of me always throwing it to Ben first, which I've done 37,000 times so far in a matter of an hour, I will say that I think the Eagles win this game. I think there's enough trouble on the Chargers offensive line where I think the Eagles can take this one. I do think this is a close one. I will be surprised if either team shuts the other one out. That's how I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I also kind of lead the same way. I was trying to think of a reason to say I think the Chargers would go, but I do think that the offensive line issues is going to be a key component in the results, and I think it's going to allow Philly's defense to penetrate, to keep Herbert off of his game, to keep him moving, to keep him uncomfortable. And I think they do take it and probably win by a touchdown.
Okay, there you go. Let me see this. We're gonna round this out. We're gonna be just about done. I'm just gonna run through these comments. If you guys have any questions, just get in there quick. Ben's got to feed his wife. I got to feed myself. Um, normally I have to feed my kids, but I have them every other weekend, so that's fine. I'm getting my wife a pair of slippers and a sex toy. Oh Jesus, if she doesn't.
Okay.
Okay, you know, sometimes I
NC
read
17
the
rating tonight.
question.
NC 17 rating tonight.
Yeah, sometimes I read the question before I read it out loud. That time I
Uh,
read like the first few words. But I mean, hey, she could do that. I mean, but she could do that with or without the toy. But we'll just leave that where it is. If you know, you know. Amazon Pancake said, so I should probably pick up Philip Rivers since I have Tyler Warren. I mean, if you watch Antonio Gates, I mean, not the craziest thing. So you're saying Alec Pierce is back with Rivers? Listen, let's just see what fucking happens, guys. Let's all take a cold shower, right?
yeah, let's settle down. Let's
Yeah.
wait and see who actually plays, and then we'll react to that.
Colts should bring back Andrew Luck. He's a little busy with Stanford. The GM and coach not getting along was reported. And okay. I'll just quickly say this. I mean, and then Ben, if you want to chime in quickly, I'll just say this though. In terms of Stefanski, like if he's not getting along with the GM, if Stefanski leaves the Cleveland Browns, whether it's a trade or whether they just part ways or fire him, Stefanski will not be out of work for long. He will get picked up immediately. Immediately,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, immediately.
he's made a name for himself with all the years he spent with Minnesota working as like a basically a water boy all the way up through the coaching staff and then getting his head coaching job with Cleveland. I mean, he's not only earned respect through the Vikings organization, but through the entire NFL. People respect him all over the place. So if he does get cut loose by the Browns, he will be hired on by another team, probably in an offensive coordinator or some kind of offensive coaching position.
All right, Ben, do you have time for two more questions, and then that's it? We're cutting it off. Are you good?
Yep.
Or
Yep. She's not
okay,
throwing stuff at me yet. So,
okay, all right. We'll do two more questions. We'll make them snappy. Because also it's getting around Monday Night Football time. So,
yep.
Steven did come in here. I thought these were two good questions. That's why I wanted to. They weren't like dumb wedding Christmas gifts. I'm sorry. He said, "Do we continue to play Michael Wilson even against the Houston defense? We saw what Houston did against the Chiefs last night. But I would just quickly say before I pitch it to you, Ben. I mean, the Chiefs did have a case of the drops, but Michael Wilson had a bounce back week after a bad week. How do you approach that against the Texans?"
I think you keep playing him. I think the Cardinals themselves just need to keep rolling with him. Just explore what this kid can do, what this guy can do. You keep giving him opportunities. If he's going to keep succeeding with him, then you've got a 1-2 going forward. Or if not, you've at least got a new number one. Maybe he is, maybe he's better. Maybe Harrison just isn't quite there yet. And from everything we've seen so far, it kind of looks like he's still got a little bit of work to do to get there. Michael Wilson has been absolute, aside from week 13, has been everything we want from a waiver wire ad and more. And I think that the Cardinals need to continue to explore what he can do, keep giving him targets, keep throwing him the ball, keep making him a part of the offense. So I think you can keep going even in a tough defensive matchup with Michael Wilson.
I agree with everything you just said. So we'll pitch it to the last question here. Coming from Amazon Pancakes, which again, maybe I'm going to order some Amazon Pancakes when I'm done with this show. We'll see. So I have Mike Evans, but I also have Mbuka, who apparently can't catch a ball. He's been awful lately. Yeah, he has been. Would you gamble this coming week and start Evans over Mbuka? All right, I'll do this first, and then Ben can answer. I'll say, I would say that I would consider, depending on what else you had, I would consider playing Evans over Mbuka because, listen, there's a lot of things we can go with on fantasy. We can go with stats. We can go with what they're doing when they're home, when they're away, when they're in certain climates, yada yada. I just feel like, and we've entered this before when Mike Evans last year was trying to get 1,000 yards and Baker Mayfield fed him. There is an emotional aspect to it. And I feel like if Mike Evans returns, Baker Mayfield will want to give him, let me give Mike Evans the best game he's had all year. Let me feed this guy. Let's make this happen. I'm buying into that. Call that emotional, but so as of Monday, I'll have a different answer Friday, Saturday, or Sunday morning. As of right now, I would say if Mike Evans is back, I would play him over Mbuka.
Yeah, I like everything you said right there. He's back. It's a Thursday night game. He had a limited practice report today. I think as long as if he gets upgraded to a full practice report, and I think he's probably a full go for Thursday, yeah, I'd give it a shot. I mean, it's entirely possible. They're just like, let's show the world Mike Evans isn't freaking done yet and just blow it up, 12 targets, 10 catches, 140 yards maybe, and a score. That'd be a wonderful fantasy day.
There you go. Well, listen, that'll do it for today. Ian Rappaport's tweeting what a time to be alive in terms of Phillip Rivers. And yeah, we agree. But we also want to stay alive. So we want Ben's wife to be fed, want her to be happy. We want me to just sit down and relax. I'm off tomorrow. I'm actually meeting Dustin from Stranger Things tomorrow.
Ooh, lucky.
Yeah, got that going on. So
that should be fun.
There you go. But anybody who is commenting, if you have any questions, fire them into the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'll just be sitting around. Or again, if you're on X, I'm at the FF Realist. Ben is at FF Rabbit Dad. Ben will be more than happy to answer you as well. Ben, point your finger the other way. You pointed the wrong way, but I do it all the time. Yep, there you go. Yeah, nope. Incorrect. God damn it. Incorrect. There you go. Perfect. All right, listen. This was a lot of fun. We had a good time, guys. Until next time, stay thirsty, be kind to one another. We'll catch you on the flip side, and cheers.